Welcome to another edition of Doctor in Your House. I am Dr. Evan Lipkiss, and I'm going to bring you practical pointers that are going to help you with your health in your everyday life. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today is part two on negative thoughts. How do you treat it? How can you do this on your own? I'm going to give you the tips because it's the same methods that I use. Number two, vitamins. Are vitamins really worth it? Are there newer studies that show vitamin efficacy or that it's just rich man's urine? And finally, I will give you a weight loss tip, which I usually do every week, so that you can lose weight and keep yourself in a healthier state. I just want to remind you that my website is www.drlipkiss.gumroad.com, and you have a wealth of different information products from weight loss, which is one of the favorites, to insomnia, low back pain. Life 101 teaches you about calming the negative emotions that are inside. Healthy mind, healthy body, the most common medical illnesses and what to do about it. And then finally, the popcorn diet, which actually is more or less a Mediterranean diet and an easy way to lose weight. So let's just go over what in the world is causing negative thoughts. Well, it's either you or others. Either that little voice inside of you is giving you negative thoughts for whatever reason, could be based on genetics or environmental circumstances, or it may be outside sources like career, sense of accomplishment, emotional relationships. All of this can affect your inner child. Your inner child is your emotional child or your subconscious. Now, when the inner child sees more stress, what happens? You get poorer health. That's just the bottom line. Stress leads to poor health and more likely decreased longevity. And then you get your skills, your talents start to degrade because of that stress. So let me just give you an example. I'm a physician. Doing the physical, the history and the physical is just about like driving a car for me. It's automatic. I've done it so many times. But those automatic talents, which are part of your subconscious, can be affected by stress as well as your health. And it is also your center of happiness. So the inner child is important, and that's why we want to tame medical thoughts. We want to tame these negative thoughts, because if you have negative thoughts, it impacts your whole life. So, what's the secret sauce here? The secret sauce is very simple. C down at the bottom here in the green stands for consciousness. That is our reasoning. Our reason is located in the lateral frontal cortex of our brain, and this is what tames emotions. This is so important. Your mental health, domestic terrorism, all based upon emotional milieu. Your environment, your emotional environment determines everything. So your reasoning part of your brain can tame the emotions contained in the inner child, which leads to less stress, which leads to more happiness, better skills, and good health. It's as simple as that. So how do you do it? Let's go over that. Okay, so here I am up in the clouds here, and one of the better techniques, which lowers blood pressure and decreases anxiety and calms the emotions, is meditation. But many people will say, I don't have time for that, or gosh, it's so gosh darn boring. You'll hear all these excuses. And I'm going to give you the simple way of meditating. You can just do it for a minute if you want. If you really like the state that you're in, because it's kind of like a deeper hypnosis if you do it longer. But if you like the state that you're in, you can do it for 10 minutes, an hour, or however long you want. But the basic thing is You can do this sitting in the yoga position. You can do it laying in bed. You shouldn't do it while you're operating heavy equipment. But here's what I do. Basically, I just will concentrate on my breathing. So here's what I do. I'll take a breath, let it out, and when I'm letting it out, my thought is peace. So I'm kind of doing this inside my mind. Peace. And I'm just focusing on that word peace. And this is actually a meditation that lowers blood pressure, but it will also reduce emotional chaos. And what's going to happen is while you're doing this, you're going to be thinking of a half dozen other things. That's perfectly normal for thoughts, annoying thoughts to come in. Just look at it as a movie. During a movie, you might have initially a problem focusing, but then you kind of become a part of the movie. Become a part of your own movie. Just let the thoughts, move on by and just concentrate on peace. And if you do this every day, some people will find that their emotional lability and their negative thoughts will decrease. So this is one technique that you can use. Another technique, I call it the judge and jury technique, but really what this is cognitive behavioral therapy. It is taking these emotional negative thoughts that you get and reframing it, testing the reality of the thought. It takes seconds to do. It's so easy. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm on a ladder trying to, take care of my gutters, which I don't do, but let's just say I did, and I fell off the ladder and I broke my arm. One of the negative thoughts that might come in my mind, knowing myself, is, well, I'm just not good at fixing anything. Now, when you think about that, is that true? Well, no, that isn't true. I can fix the human body. So if the thought is not true, it needs to be discarded. So basically, I've just tested the reality of it. And when you think about it, this was really an all or none thing. I said, because I fell off the ladder and broke my arm, I'm not good at fixing anything. Well, always and never are just not true. That's an all or none thing. And it's also predicting the future, that I can't fix anything and I'll never be able to fix anything. So these types of thoughts, you have to check the reality. It would be like if a student, a woman student says, gee, women are no good in math and I'm no good in math either. Again, that's all or none thinking. That's not true. Some of the world's best NASA scientists are women and they're great in math. So you really have to test the reality of your thoughts, and they're gonna come back. Because if you've had negative thoughts for years and you think that just testing the reality is going to make it go away forever, no. You will need to rinse and repeat. But the more you do it, the less negative thoughts you'll have and the more positive your outlook on life will be, and the happier and the healthier kind of lifestyle you'll live. So this is a real important type of thing that takes seconds to do, and you can do it with each thought. But when you hear that little voice inside your head saying these things, face this thought and test the reality immediately and get rid of it. One of the things that happens with negative thoughts is people feel very alone with these thoughts. And really, one of the best things that you can do to live a healthier and a happier life is to connect with other people. Friendships and family, these kinds of relationships, if they're positive, can definitely lead to a happier and healthier life. These bonds are very, very important in helping you reduce negative thoughts. So, some people say, gee, I don't have any, my family's toxic and I have very few friends. You don't need to have a lot of friends. You can make friends anytime you wish. Just join a club that you're interested in. There's clubs for everything. You can go to a club once every couple of weeks. You will establish new friendships. This is very important because when we're all on this boat together, the negative thoughts seem to dissipate. So it's another important thing. So the three things again, and there are more, are meditation, judge and jury, in other words, cognitive behavioral therapy, testing the reality of the thoughts, and connecting with other people. It may be for negative thoughts that you'll need a medication, or maybe positive self-talk every day in the mirror for a minute will be helpful. There's several different techniques. This is just a few of them that I wanted to mention today. Okay, now what's the story with vitamins? I have to tell you, I have sold vitamins and been a vitamin promoter for probably 30 years out of the 40 years in my practice. And I still believe in vitamins. But the U.S. Preventative Task Force came out with a statement that basically said that vitamins have no role whatsoever in preventing cardiovascular disease. And, vitamins like beta carotene and vitamin E don't do anything. This is taken from Helio, which is a medical site that reviews recent papers. So the evidence for cardiovascular disease prevention is weak to nothing. As far as cancer is concerned, I do remember the VITAL study showed that vitamins might be a little bit helpful in preventing cancer, but it's not a big deal. If you want to prevent cancer, the best way to do it is lose weight. Okay, that's probably the best way to prevent cancer, and eat a Mediterranean diet, a diet full of vegetables, fish, fruits, high fiber foods, grains, etc. So these are two cancer prevention techniques. If you want to take a multiple vitamin, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, they didn't test all the vitamins, and they tested they looked at a lot of studies and did a meta-analysis on vitamins, and many of them just don't seem to work. So there are vitamins that I actually favor, but the problem is the FDA won't study them. There's really and pharmaceutical companies aren't going to study them either, because generic vitamins, they're not going to make any money on it. So it's really hard to get great studies with vitamins. So I still take them, and I will, on a future YouTube, I'll go over some of the vitamins that I truly like and why. But you have to understand that the evidence is thin, and like a drug, all vitamins have hundreds and hundreds of side effects. You just think, well, it's a vitamin, it's natural, it's fine. It isn't. They have side effects, interactions. You have to be aware of this. For example, St. John's wort for depression interacts with lots of drugs, and it may or may not work. So you really have to look at the vitamins. You can look, there are websites for this that you can look at side effects and see what you're dealing with. So that's just an overview. I'm not taking the wind out of your sails, but $32 billion is spent on vitamins and supplements every year. We ought to at least know if they're effective or possibly effective. So that's why I'm presenting this data. Okay, I'm going to give you your weight loss tip for the day. I think all of us kind of struggle between, apples and spinach and versus French fries and hot dogs. So this guy is no different, but we'll go into your weight loss tip for the day. Now, you know, I'm a big promoter of medicines with weight loss because 98% of people cannot keep the weight off unless they're tremendously disciplined, and that's 2% of the population. But this behavioral study was good because it showed that using behavioral techniques after 2 years, about people lost about 7 or 8 pounds as opposed to a couple of pounds. So you're going to lose about, with just behavioral techniques only, about 2 to 3% of your body weight. Not like medicines where you can lose 10 to 20% of your body weight. So, what are the actual behavioral techniques that you can use? Well, first of all, contact. I didn't put this down, but I did indicate it in the italics area, that if you have 12 or more contacts per year with people, a coach, a dietitian, a behaviorist, a psychologist, this is going to help you to lose weight and keep the weight off because it's just a matter of accountability. So this is very, very important to have somebody who is a coach, a friend, a nutritionist, a psychologist, a social worker, whatever, somebody that you can report into as far as losing weight. These other techniques that you can see here, self-awareness is so important. When we eat, we're in a hypnotic state. We just kind of keep eating, and we're not thinking about what we're doing. Eating slowly is important because we want that leptin hormone to be released where you get a feeling of satiety and fullness. Don't shop when you're hungry. You're just going to pick out all the wrong foods. And when you're eating, you might want to take a break, take a bathroom break, take a quick walk, go do some quick task for a second. The only reason is the longer you wait, the slower you eat, the fuller you'll feel. Go to bed earlier. If you're watching like TV in the den like I am and some great Netflix streaming series, don't stay up till midnight doing this because the den and Netflix are like the movie theater. Time to eat. And so if you go to bed earlier, you won't want to be eating in bed, most likely. And when you wake up, you're in a state of ketosis, kind of an acidic state where you're not really as hungry. Take advantage of that. Have low-cal snacks available so that when you do want a snack, at least you'll do it in a healthy manner. Carrots, they take time to eat. Popcorn, same thing, low calorie, takes time to eat, and it's both of these are filling. I keep oatmeal packets around, 100 calories. I take my hot water spigot and just put it in there, the water, and the oatmeal's ready to go, and it's filling. Or soup, or Greek yogurt. All of these things are nutritionally sound, part of a Mediterranean diet, and they're filling. So that's important. Well, whether you weigh daily or not is up to you. I find it's helpful for accountability. You know, if I'm getting off track, I'll modify myself. And but if it's giving you a bunch of negative thoughts, then of course go to my negative thoughts section, or just don't weigh daily and do your thing. You have to decide. You're the owner of that. And of course, I mentioned check in with your coach. Weight Watchers, that's why that succeeds, because your coach is all the other people in the group. Thank you for attending Doctor in Your House. I'll be back to you every week. Remember to subscribe, hit the button in the right lower quadrant. Like I'm talking about an abdomen, in the right corner here. And basically, if you hit that button, nothing will happen except you'll be a subscriber. You're not going to be annoyed or bothered. And you'll help to fulfill my mission of helping as many people as I can to positively impact them. Finally, please ask your questions. I will answer them with the disclaimer of this entire video that ask your doctor before proceeding with any of these ideas. But I'll keep you up to date. I'm going to bring you the latest and greatest every week. Thanks for attending. Great to see you. Next week, I'll see you either Sunday or Monday, and we'll come back with more important topics that affect you.